Good evening, faculty, staff, distinguished members of the Board of Trustees, and most importantly, the family and friends and our agency partners. Welcome to Stanley Community College's Law Enforcement Training Graduation for the Fall 2023 class. I am David Esposito, Director of the Basic Law Enforcement Training Program here at Stanley. Please join me in welcoming the cadets for the Fall 2023 BLET. Guests, if you are able, if you can rise, please do so as we pledge our allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. David Hunt will now give the invocation.
Let us pray. Lord, it's with grateful hearts that we come before you as we celebrate and give thanks for every student that's here. Thank you that each one is unique and has the potential to do great things for their communities and in their agencies. I ask for your protection over them as they go and serve. Give them the courage to be strong and brave in the face of danger and to have compassion for those who are hurting. I pray for their families and ask that you give them an understanding of the noble profession that their loved one has decided to pursue. Help them to always do the right thing and to hold their integrity and character to a higher standard. Bless them as only you can do in all that they do, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please be seated. First, I'd like to begin to introduce the members that will be on stage with me today. Mr. David Hunt, he is my assistant. Sitting next to him is Dr. Jeff Parsons. He is the Vice President of Academic Affairs for Stanley Community College. Dr. Kara Finch, the Dean of Public Services. And on the very end, Assistant Chief Scott Hall from the Mint Hill Police Department. First, I want to give you a brief history of BLET and what these cadets have gone through for the past 4 months. Standardization of law enforcement officers began in the early 1970s into a response for the growing concern and increased accountability and credibility. 2 advisory councils laid the groundwork through the 1970s by adopting minimum employment and basic training standards. By 1978, the minimum hours were increased from 160 hours to 240. At this time, all criminal justice officers in the state were included under the council's regulatory authority. On January 1st, 1980, the 2 councils were dissolved to create the North Carolina Criminal Justice Education and Training Standards Commission. Sheriffs and their deputies continued under this jurisdiction of the commission until September of 1983, when the General Assembly established a separate sheriff's commission. Since the 1970s, law enforcement training has continued to evolve. In 1997, the first pilot course for the new BLET 2000 curriculum was tested at the North Carolina Justice Academy. 6 more pilot delivery sites were added in the spring of 1998, and to also test this curriculum. The basic law enforcement training, or what we refer to as BLET, curriculum is designed to prepare entry-level individuals with the cognitive and physical skills needed to become certified law enforcement officers in the state of North Carolina. Today, the curriculum comprises of 36 separate blocks of instruction that include topics such as law enforcement driver's training, motor vehicle laws, arrest, search, and seizure, elements of criminal law, just to name a few. The BLET curriculum employs practical exercise and an extensive ethics section throughout the training experience. The BLET course has been thoroughly researched, legally reviewed, and contains the most current law enforcement information available. This commission-mandated 640-hour course takes approximately 16 weeks to complete and concludes with a comprehensive written examination, skills testing, and the police officer's abilities test, commonly referred to as the POPAT. Upon successful completion of the BLET comprehensive written examination, the BLET trainees are eligible to be sworn as officers in the state of North Carolina. And just today, early afternoon, we received their test scores after a long weekend of anticipation. They all did very, very well. Currently, the BLET curriculum is under final stages of another review and will expand from 640 hours to 860 hours. There are several schools in the state that are actually piloting this. We look for the change here at Stanley probably in the early 2025. Now it is my distinct honor to introduce Dr. Jeff Parsons, the Vice President of Academic Affairs for Stanley Community College.
Thank you, David. Good evening. Welcome to Stanley Community College. So on behalf of our Board of Trustees and on behalf of our President, Dr. John Enemite, who's not able to be here with us tonight, on behalf of all the faculty and staff here at Stanley Community College, I want to welcome you to this graduation ceremony where we get to honor our basic law enforcement training graduates. Right? So I want to be one of the first to tell you congratulations. I'll probably tell you congratulations 3 times before this little talk here is over. This celebration brings us together to highlight the success of these graduates as they get started in their careers. It's a happy time in the life of a college whenever we graduate. One of the great things about community colleges is that we get to have several of these ceremonies throughout the year for different types of short-term workforce training that we do. So it's a privilege to be able to be here and celebrate and recognize these graduates. I do want to take a moment and recognize Courtney Lisk, who is back here in the back. She is one of our Board of Trustees members, and we appreciate our board for the leadership direction they provide to our college as they help us prepare to serve the county in our service area and even outside of that now and well into the future. So Stanley Community College is very blessed to have wonderful faculty and staff. And it is those folks who have enabled, partly, these graduates to get to where they are right now. So I'm grateful and fortunate to work with all of those faculty and staff. So I just want to mention a few of them. This happens to be our 3rd graduating class that we've had under the leadership of Mr. David Esposito, who is our director of our law enforcement training program. And he has led them with the assistance of Mr. David Hunt, who we mentioned as our qualified assistant. We're very happy to have their talent, their expertise, their dedication that enables this program to grow and to maintain a level of quality to help prepare you for the jobs that are ahead of you. But right alongside of them, I want to mention Mr. John Lanier, who is our program head for our criminal justice technology program, Ms. Marissa Trent, who is our BLET, you'll hear me call basic law enforcement training BLET, our BLET administrative assistant, Ms. Tony Rory, who's our success coach for BLET and criminal justice, Dr. Kara Finch, who's back here, who's the dean, and Ms. Christy Honeycutt, who's hiding back there in the back corner, who's the associate vice president for health sciences and public services. And the reason I want to mention those to you folks is oftentimes, sometimes you see these folks and oftentimes they're working in the background doing things you may never know about, but they're a part of the reason you have cars and tires and all the little things that have to happen, budget preparations that are preparing for the class 2 years from now. All of those things happen, and they happen in the background oftentimes, and they're the reason you have a program at all. So I just want to acknowledge them and the work that they do, and very much appreciate that. So if you would you offer those folks a round of applause? I am very aware that none of you came to hear me speak. I am very cognizant of that. So I only have about 3 things I really want to say, but I tend to go long with them. The first one I want to say to the graduates and everyone else in the room is that law enforcement is a noble profession. It's needed in our community and it's needed across our nation. And I want to acknowledge the sacrifices that have been made and will be made by law enforcement so that our society is a functioning society. And so I want to thank you for that. I realize that a few bad apples grab an awful lot of the media time and tend to steal the narrative. But I believe these graduates are the kind of graduates who can help change that narrative as they serve their communities. And so that's something I'm looking forward to from all of you. Second thing is this kind of training program requires an awful lot of partnerships. If you look around the room, you'll see an awful lot of law enforcement officers in this room. And so those partnerships are what make this possible. For instance, every student in a BLET program needs a sponsor from a law enforcement agency. Second example, we borrow, steal, use the expertise of all of these agencies to provide the instruction for our courses. That is extremely important, and many of the folks in this room who are law enforcement officials serve or have representatives from their agencies who serve on our program advisory boards for BLET and criminal justice, and they really do serve as the bridge between the curriculum that we teach and the real world of law enforcement out there. And so without those partnerships, we would not be able to do what we do. And so I want to thank all of you for your input and cooperation and support of the program. One little point of interest related to partnerships you may be interested in, we did recently sign a registered apprenticeship agreement with the City of Albemarle for police officer training. And that was signed in conjunction with Apprenticeship NC. So we're really excited to see that program grow. If any of the other agencies who are represented here today are interested in something like a registered apprenticeship for law enforcement, we would love to have that conversation with you. Get a hold of Mr. Esposito or Mr. Hunt or Dr. Finch, and we would love to launch that kind of conversation. Third thing, almost done. To the graduates and to your families, I want to say a very heartfelt thank you for choosing Stanley Community College. There are lots of options for basic law enforcement training, and we're very glad you chose us. We're glad that you are here. We appreciate the trust you placed in us, and I am confident that you received top-notch training. I am absolutely convinced of that. Not necessarily easy training, and certainly not pleasant training, but top-notch training. Is that fair? Yeah. So what I am now doing, and what we are now doing, is trusting you to go and make our part of the world a little better place for people to live and to work. And I absolutely believe in your ability to do that. So graduates, congratulations. You have my prayers for a successful career and a safe career. Thank you.
So I was asked to introduce our keynote speaker for today, and I guess I have known and worked with Scott for 25 years. So I do consider it an honor to be able to do this. Major Scott Hall grew up in Charlotte and attended Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system as well as Central Piedmont Community College. We here at Stanley don't hold that against him. He knew from a very early age that he wanted to work in public safety. His father worked with the Charlotte Police Department, and he decided to follow in his footsteps. He applied for the Mecklenburg County Police Department in 1992. However, they were in the midst of a merger with what's now CMPD, and so that process was delayed. That didn't stop him from applying with the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. While working with the Sheriff's Office, he attended BLET and obtained his certification in 1993. After a couple years, he decided working at a detention center was not for him, and he wanted to be out on the street where he could respond to citizens who called, and he could have that personal interaction with the people in his community. While researching other avenues, he met a young lady born and raised in Stanley County who captured his attention, and he married his wife Joan in 1996. Scott accepted a position with the Locust Police Department, where he worked for 5 years before going to work for the Stanley County Sheriff's Department to work in a newly formed traffic enforcement division. He was also a member of the Sheriff's Special Response Team. During a conversation one day with his father, he learned that the town of Mint Hill decided to form their own police department. In 2003, he applied and was offered a position as a patrol sergeant with this new department of only 25 sworn officers. After serving for a year, he was promoted to the rank of captain, which at that time was second in command of the agency. After a month of being promoted, his wife gave birth to their daughter, Lily, who is now 19 years old and currently attending the nursing program here at Stanley Community College. He served in this capacity, and the department began to expand to meet the demands of the growing community. In July of 2018, restructuring of the agency took place, and his title changed to Major. The agency now has 49 sworn positions. He became a general instructor in 2005 and started teaching with the BLET program here at Stanley Community College. He's a specialized instructor in firearms, rapid deployment, and he's also an alert instructor. And he has decided that on December 1st, he's going to hang it up after over 30 years of service in law enforcement. So as we welcome Major Hall to the podium, let's also thank him for his service and congratulate him on his retirement. Good evening. Y'all stink. Seriously? I mean, are y'all not here to represent these fine young gentlemen graduating? Let's try this again. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. I appreciate that. They appreciate it. They appreciate y'all's time tonight, being here, the support, the law enforcement officers that's here as well. But first, I want to welcome y'all. Welcome Dr. Finch, Dr. Parsons, Christy Honeycutt, and the Board of Trustee with Stanley Community College. And most importantly, the graduates of Stanley Community Basic Law Enforcement Training Class. Y'all did it. So it's a privilege of rather grand proportions to be asked to speak tonight at your commencement ceremony. And I thank you profusely for this opportunity. Welcome to this noble profession. Over the last few months, you experienced ups and downs with each other. There were times you were excited with the tasks that were given. Sometimes you were upset with one another because maybe somebody made a bad judgment during a scenario, or your partner made a bad judgment during a scenario. But during that practical exercise and the written test, to add a few things to that, a little stress, some issues at home maybe, some financial burdens, but you succeeded, and that's why you're sitting here today. With the encouragement of everybody in this room and others that couldn't be here tonight, the guidance from your school leaders behind me, your instructors that's out here in the crowd, and the support of your family. That's what got you here, okay? You studied hard, you knew what you needed to do to accomplish this goal, and you did it. So, my last request from y'all, I need y'all to stand up for me. And you get to turn around and face this crowd. And I want you to look at your family. Turn around, let's go. Come on. I want you to look at your family and tell them, thank you and I love you. Oh, that was warm and fuzzy. All right, now you can turn around and sit back down. Good job. That was the last scenario you had to pass. No, I'm just kidding. So, are you excited for this new career? That's a question for all of y'all, by the way. Yes, okay, all right, good job. Are you prepared to move forward in the field training program at your prospective departments? Yes, sir. Yeah, there's a lot. You thought you had a lot in the last several weeks. You got a lot more to learn. So I learned something this past week, and the instructor I had that was one of the top, and I guess top 3 that I've ever had that was just outstanding. And he used an analogy to, you take, who drinks coffee? Anybody drink coffee? You will one of these days. You take the old coffee, you rinse it out and pour fresh coffee in, okay? You do that, and that's part of training, that's learning. Get rid of the old stuff, absorb new stuff, okay? Your brains are like a sponge. It's your opportunity to take that and learn as much as you can. Open your ears, open your heart. Think of why you're in this profession. So, you're entering the field of a thankless job. You'll be looked down upon like living in a glass house. People will ridicule you with everything you do, whether it's wrong or right. You'll be called upon to do the unthinkable. Though you probably will never believe so or perceive yourselves in such a light, you will be heroes in your own right
and be called upon to perform deeds that few will ever understand, appreciate, or ever be able to perform themselves. You have entered an elite class of humanity which few are called. Today is your day. Do not tarnish what you've just accomplished by losing sight of who you are. What you have been called to do is a mission in the public safety field. Do not take the task inherent in this noble and distinguished undertaking lightly. Do not do what is right for the right reason, even when no one is looking. I think you saw that on the board, didn't you? Yeah. You'll be called upon to witness the horrific and final moments of those that decided to take their own life. You'll be the first on the scene to perform CPR on an infant. Stop the bleeding from those that fell under some type of attack of a domestic violence issue. To separate the not so loving partners of a dissolving partnership who have hate for one another. You will pull broken bodies from motor vehicle crashes in the dark while dodging another vehicle of a motorist who decided to drink and drive, blowing through your crash scene. You will feel like an elderly person is just taking up too much of your time to show you pictures of their family members, to learn later their loved ones have long gone. And all along, that elderly person just desired a few moments of your time and a listening ear. Sometime during your career, you may even save lives, maybe many lives, placing your life on the line for someone you don't even know. Why? Because this is the calling you answered. You have been entrusted to respond to those cries that encompass the very worst moments of someone's life. And many times and on many days, you will be called upon to accomplish what exceeds the bounds of what any human being should bear witness to with regards to man's humanity to man, and this will shear your soul with all that is wrong and terrible and disgusting within our society. And yet you will react with the utmost professionalism, as that is part and parcel of what your mission entails. So much of what you do exceeds the bounds of what involves enforcement of the law, but is nevertheless very much the duties of a law enforcement officer. Always abide by the golden rule, to always treat those of your calls as you would want your family to be treated, and offer them the same protection you would tender your own flesh and blood. Always remember to do what right looks like, and never forget that evil perpetrated when we look the other way and then do nothing. Be the kind of officer who is available to help those in need. Do not judge, but to listen and show empathy. Everyone's day to be on the giving and receiving end of this will come. Decide now where you will be standing. God has chosen you for a reason to accept this call. Each one of you are chosen to be who you are and where you are. All we have in this world is each other. And evil continues to raise its ugly head in the effort to prevail. I would like to leave you with this, because this is from my personal experiences, and I'm sure others may share the same. Never overlook or take for granted your own family in the equation of what it is that you do in the line of duty. Most importantly, never fail to remember that your families, which many times include your fellow officers, some in this room, will be and will remain your greatest assets of all. They will be there through the best times and the worst of times. When you are home, turn off that police radio. Don't look at the cop shows, Cops Live, and start yelling at the TV because, oh my God, they're chasing somebody and I wish I was there. You got to get away from it a little bit. Step away from work as best you can. Decompress. Have that moment, remembering that your family loves you being at home, wishing you to remove that police hat. To your families, I will say this. Please understand there's going to be times that these guys down here, these young men that are serving in the community, that there's going to be a lot of weight on their shoulders when they come home after a hard day. Trying to filter what they experienced during their shift hours before coming home, like I said. Trying to regurgitate this can be very challenging to officers. The support you continue to provide is paramount and is very much appreciated. Now back to you guys. Seeking counsel at times can help. It helps us survive. This world is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength for your well-being. Find out what your out is. Find a hobby. Find something else you can do. You've got to separate this as best you can when you're off. Something I saw this past week really hit home a little bit. So wherever I go, everyone is a little safer because I'm there. Wherever I am, anyone in need has a friend. Whenever I am home, everyone is glad that I'm there. Let that sink in a minute. I had to read it twice because I read it too quick the first time, and I was like, let me read that again. So I'm gonna read it again. Wherever I go, everyone is a little safer because I am there. Wherever I am, anyone in need has a friend. Whenever I'm home, everyone is glad I'm there. And I'm gonna leave you with Psalm 121, one of the books of the Bible. I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not let your foot slip. He who watches over you will not slumber. Indeed, he watches over Israel, will never slumber nor sleep. The Lord watches over you. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun will not harm you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over you, your coming and going, both now and forevermore. So God bless each one of you becoming law enforcement officers for the state of North Carolina and your prospective agencies, that you will serve and protect at all cost. Keep your faith in God. And again, I appreciate you allowing me to speak at your ceremony tonight. Congratulations, guys. You done it.
Thank you, Major. All right, now it's my honor to introduce our class leader. Who's going to come up and say a few words. Mr. Jace Dryden.
You know, when I was told I had to give a speech, I asked immediately if I had a time slot I had to fill and if I had to censor myself. And he said, just remember your speech is before you get the certificate and be smart. So these guys, you don't have to worry too much about that. But my name is Jace Dryden, and I had the opportunity to be the class leader for this academy class. If any of these guys have come home sore or complaining about how many push-ups they've had to do, sit-ups, planks, or anything else they've been forced to do every single break we've had at this academy, hello, I'm the reason why. To give an inside look of the class that sits in front of you, this is a little joke I told these guys a couple times throughout class and I've got no response, but here it goes. How do you know someone is either a firefighter, a CrossFitter, or a pickleball player? Because it doesn't matter what you're talking about, they'll always talk about that specific subject at least 2 or 3 times every time they talk. And we've had that within our class, within the instructors, and the directors in QA. I've heard more about pickleball than ever before. 4 months ago, we all parked in the parking lot of the building. We spent long days and nights, nervous and anxious for the road that was ahead of us, thinking we were ready. Then we walked into the building. Some of us had wrong colored pants on, a full beard, and had no clue that not standing at attention for every single instructor meant running, push-ups, and first of our many, many humbling experiences. We've come a long way since that day. We were told from the very first day we would embark on very basics of this job. Whether it be lessons we had to learn the hard way, things we made infinitely harder on ourselves, practicals we thought we knew exactly what needed to be done, or tests we actually felt comfortable with. At the end of it all, we were reminded that it was just the basics. Not only do we learn the basics of the job, but we learn more in depth about basics that we took for granted every single day, and we're reintroduced to some things, ranging from simply how to approach a doorway, how to stand up when we fall to the ground, how to fall to the ground correctly, where the handle in the toilet is, and the importance of using it every single time. We were reintroduced to it all. We're also introduced to new things. How to make correct traffic stops, how sim rounds feel when you get hit by them, what it feels like to yell at someone to get to the ground, that feeling you get when they actually get to the ground after yelling at them, what it feels like when that person who is on the ground jumps up and uppercuts you to the face. Yeah, 1 second. We've seen all of this and more. We've also seen our classmates almost get choked out by their own arms. We've seen how they react when they get punched in the face for the first time of their life. We've seen them finally be able to do things they've worked over and over on trying to perfect and finally achieve it. Well, except front rolls. Somersaults are just not happening in this class. Or being able to jump over a fence without landing on your back 2 times in a row. Like I said, it's been a wild ride for this class. Going back to our first week of PT, our Cooper's test, some started out by barely being able to do a few push-ups. Some not being runners at all and walking just as much of a mile and a half as they did run. Thinking that we were jumping high off the ground but barely making it an inch. The first POPAT, where almost everyone didn't complete in time, to where we are today, knocking out push-ups left and right, everyone finishing the POPAT with minutes to spare, some even doing it while injured, and losing a class total of almost 100 pounds throughout this class. We are not the same people today as we were when we started. We've learned a lot about our classmates and even more about ourselves throughout this 4 months. We've learned when our classmates are reached their breaking points and when they needed the most encouragement. We've gotten angry at each other for the amount of negative self-talk that we've allowed to have happen when tests and practicals didn't go our way. We were there for each other in the times we got in our own heads and weren't there for ourselves, and managed to make it into these seats in this auditorium today. The lessons we've learned about ourselves are the ones we'll take with us into our careers. I'm going to quote a couple of our classmates because most of these questions that I asked them 2 weeks ago are kind of the same response. I've learned that I'm actually capable of getting 100 on a test. I've learned that I'm only held back by the limitations that I place on myself. And lastly, one thing I've learned about myself is that I'm not a failure. There are many times I realized that it was too difficult for me and I cannot keep up with my peers. I did my best so that I would not fail, and I didn't. I learned that I put my mind to it and I don't give up, I can achieve it. And we did. So family and friends, please know that none of this was possible without you guys. Even though we might not have thanked you enough, and I'm not quite sure that is doable, your support and encouragement means more to us during this academy than you know, and will be needed more than ever as we leave to and come home from every shift. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Now in closing, I'm going to quote one of my old fire captains who told us day 1 of Fire Academy. He said, when tensions get high and it hits the fan, everyone is going to want to rise to the occasion and be the hero, but everyone will fall back to the basics. Gentlemen, I wish you a long, healthy, and safe career, and I know without a doubt you'll bring honor to the badge and safety to your communities. And I hope that when times get challenging, you remember what you learned about yourself in this academy, and I'm honored to be a part of the memories we'll all resort back to when we fall back to our basics. Fellas, congratulations. We did it.
Awesome. All right. Now I guess the good part. Get those certificates you worked hard for, huh? So I'm going to ask Dr. Finch to come to the podium, and we're going to get this thing started.
right, I'll call your name and you'll come up and get your certificates, okay? All right, Justin Barrier, Albemarle Police Department. Zachary Brewer, Pinehurst Police Department. Jace Dryden, Spencer Police Department. Thomas Harrison, Norwood Police Department. Jorge Rivera Lopez, Albemarle Police Department. Sean Vang, Albemarle Police Department.
How about another round of applause? Now we got some awards we would like to hand out. These gentlemen have worked very, very hard, so we want to honor them with some awards for their achievements. The first award is the academic award. This goes to the student that maintained the highest academic average through all those 36 blocks of instruction. And this year's award goes to Thomas Harrison. Next award is our Top Gun Award. This is awarded to the cadet that maintained the highest average through the firearms training portion of basic law enforcement training. This year, this award goes to Jace Dryden. Our next award is our top driver. This award goes to the cadet that didn't rip the bumpers off my cars and burn all my tires off and maintain the the driving portion is a very difficult part of this class, so a lot of skills there that they had to master without running a bunch of cones over and maintaining at a certain time. This top driver goes to Zachary Brewer. All right, our next award, this one goes to the most improved physical fitness. Physical fitness is a big part of this program. Like they alluded, they've lost collectively more than 100 pounds. They work very hard from day one. They PT'd almost every single day. They completed 3 POPATs, 3 assessments. So we tallied all those scores that who improved the most significantly from the start to finish. And that award goes to Jorge River Lopez. She's right. You're good. All right, we have one last award. This is the Damon Smith Award. And if you're not familiar with this award, I'm going to read you a little statement of why we give this award. Monday, April 15th, 1996 was a tragic day here in Stanley County. On that day, 29-year-old Oakboro police officer Damon Smith was dispatched to a domestic disturbance call. It would be his last call of service. The suspect was waiting for the officer to arrive. When he saw Officer Smith approach his house, he shot him in the chest with a .30-30 rifle. Officer Smith was wearing a ballistic vest, but however, it was no match for the rifle. Damon died of his injuries and was survived by his wife and his 3-year-old son. Damon was a United States Army veteran, a 2-time graduate of Stanley Community College, where he earned his associate's degree in criminal justice and also his BLET certificate. In his memory and in his honor, Stanley Community College awards the Damon Smith Award to the outstanding graduate for each BLET class. Firearms, driver's training, physical training, academic scores are tallied. The BLET staff and instructors look for traits such as good moral character, reliability, strong work ethic, honesty, leadership, and very importantly, a positive attitude. Having a positive attitude in this field of law enforcement is paramount. You'll see a lot of horrible things in your career, and you'll have those bad days. Attitude will determine whether you succumb to those pressures or overcome them. In other words, attitude will determine whether you become a victim or a victor. Our outstanding graduate has excellent attitude and displayed strong leadership skills. Normally in this part of the presentation, I have Damon's widow come up, but she is unable to be with us tonight. She normally comes up and addresses the class, but she asked me to express to the class, you know, she doesn't want you to focus on his death. What she wants you to focus on is the contributions he made to his country and his community when he wore the badge and also his Army uniform. So this year's award goes to Mr. Jace Dryden. All right, I promise you we're about done. Before we close the ceremony, I want to personally thank my staff. David Hunt has been a terrific friend, has been a mentor of mine. We worked together at Albemarle Police Department. I was very thankful that when I called him up when I was looking for an assistant that he accepted the job. So thank you, David, for everything that you've done. Dr. Kara Finch, as we refer to our 2-star dean, little private joke, she knows what I mean. Couldn't do it without her. She has put her heart and soul into this program, and she has a lot of other programs that she has to manage, but she has really put her heart and soul in this program to make it successful as we continue to grow. My admin assistant, Marissa, I've said it many times, I could not do this job without her. I'm not the most organized person, so she keeps me straight. She works very, very hard. There's a lot of moving parts to this program. Not only do we have to satisfy the requirements of the college, we also have to satisfy the requirements of the CJ standards, which is, if anybody in law enforcement knows, that can be very difficult. Christy Honeycutt, which is hiding up there in the back, my AVP, again, she has been a tremendous support to this program. She's always there. You know, when I have to spend money and replace those bumpers and those tires and cones and all that other stuff that costs a lot of money. So thank you, Christy. I appreciate it. John Lanier, he's our program head for criminal justice, but he's also my PT instructor. John, you know, he works a full day, and then at the end of the day, you know, he takes these cadets out, and you know, he's responsible for that 100 pounds and all those push-ups and stuff. And since he is, we've teamed up to run this program, we have yet to have a POPAT failure, and I think that speaks volumes for his dedication to this program. Mr. Parsons, I can't say enough about you. I took this job a year and a half ago. They told me they would support everything we needed to do here. It was a large undertaking, and I was skeptical at first, but he's been there every step of the way. I wish Dr. Enamite was here. Again, he's been a tremendous support of this program as we continue to grow. We've got some. The future is very bright for this program as we hopefully in the next couple of years build a new public safety building and continue to expand our program and all the public services. Last, I want to thank, and I'm not going to make them stand this year because they always yell at me. We could not have this program without the dedication of our instructors. Many of these instructors are still full-time law enforcement officers. They're working full shifts. Most departments are undermanned these days, and they give up their precious time off to come in and instruct these young cadets. I usually make them stand to be recognized, but I'm not going to do it to you this year. You know who you are. There's a lot of them in this room. There's some that could not be here tonight, and they wanted me to let you guys know that they are proud of your accomplishments, and they wish they could have been here. So instructors, thank you for everything that you do for this program. All right, so let's close it up. Graduates, you have chosen a noble profession. Face every day with a positive attitude and never compromise your integrity or that of a law enforcement professional. Education is paramount. I challenge you to never stop learning because BLET, as it continues to evolve with the times, so will the law enforcement profession. Again, I congratulate. I thank you for the job that you're getting ready to do. Be safe out there. As I said in my opening statement, a big part of this profession, is an officer's integrity. So there's one thing that I make them do every single day of class, is that's to recite the Code of Ethics. So graduates, attend up.
Enforcement officer, my fundamental duty is to serve mankind, to safeguard lives and property, to protect the innocent against deception, the weak against oppression or intimidation, and the peaceful against violence or disorder, and to respect the constitutional rights of all men in liberty, equality, and justice. I will keep my private life unsullied as an example to all, maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, or ridicule, develop self-restraint, and be constantly mindful of the welfare of others. Honest in thought and deed, in both my personal and official life, I will be exemplary in obeying the laws of the land and the regulations of my department. Whatever I see or hear of a confidential nature or that is confided to me in my official capacity will be kept ever secret unless revelation is necessary in the performance of my duties. I will never act officiously or permit personal feelings, prejudices, animosities, or friendships to influence my decisions. With no compromise for crime and with relentless prosecution of criminals, I will enforce the law courteously and appropriately, without fear or favor, malice or ill will, never employing unnecessary force or violence, and never accepting gratuities.
Let's give them a round of applause again. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the ceremony. Just have two announcements. If you have family or friends that were unable to attend tonight and want to watch the program, Mr. Andre in the back has been filming this, and it'll be, he told me by Monday, it'll be up on our YouTube channel on our website, so you'll be able to view that if you wish. Also, we have a reception that's going to be in the Edens building. So when you exit the auditorium, the building's kind of up to the left, being room 107. So we'll have a short reception in there, and everybody is invited to attend. Thank you for coming.